question. How would you respond to those who believe that advances in renewable energy technologies have eliminated or will eliminate the need for energy and other traditional sources?
I think, and thank you for asking that question, and I'll address some of this to Mr. Pulmerter too, I think around the story. I think we have to understand that energy density of fuel determines the environmental impact, full stop. This is a physical process. So the energy density of wood is half that of coal. The energy density of a quantity of uranium is 1,000,000 times higher than coal. So to the question of uranium mining, well, first of all, most of it's now in situ underground. We don't actually dig anything up. But you're having this amount of uranium, or really 2 glasses worth of uranium, is enough uranium to power my entire life. So the question is, I mean, do we really need, I mean, this is the issue with renewables. Do you really need renewables if you have nuclear? Well, France did an experiment. It had 75% nuclear. It added a bunch of wind. In order to add all of that wind onto the grid, it had to increase the amount of natural gas it burned. Its carbon intensity went up. So I just think I think we have to just ground ourselves in the fact that energy density of fuel determines environmental impact. Humans gradually move from energy dilute fuels towards energy dense ones.
So I go back to my questions.
Yeah.
Do you believe the advances in renewable energy technologies have eliminated or will eliminate the need for energy from other traditional sources?
No, and they can't, because we can't make sunlight or wind more energy dense, and we can't make them more reliable, which is why a solar farm takes 380 times more land than a nuclear plant. It's not going to change.
Okay. Next question also for Mr. Schellenberger. If you could comment on suggestions by recent articles that aggressive efforts to pivot to clean energy sources, such as outlined by the Green New Deal, might dramatically increase energy prices for consumers. As the obstetrician, young couples starting off, that energy bill, the electricity bill, was a big chunk of their income. What do you think things like the new Green Deal will do to energy prices for consumers?
Yeah, I mean, what we know is that a significant deployment of solar and wind increased electricity prices. It increased electricity prices in Germany by 50%. They now pay about 50% more than their neighbors. We saw that in California. Our electricity prices went up 7 times more than the rest of the United States because of our integration of renewables. There's no mystery as to why. To integrate significantly unreliable electricity onto the grid, you have to have 100% backup, usually from natural gas or some other source of energy. And of course, as you point out, raising energy prices, like increasing the price of food, is regressive. The people that suffer the most are the poor and the working class. So anything that increases energy prices is going to be regressive and harmful to working class and poor people.
Okay, I'll stay with you, I guess, for my last question. If you would kind of agree with this philosophy. To me, the greatest determinant of the carbon footprint of this world over the next decade or two will be the world economy. That if we have a strong world economy, we can do things like provide infrastructure for natural gas. To your point, in a bad economy, people burn wood, very energy light, versus being able to burn natural gas, which is going to be more efficient and more energy dense. Do you have any comments on that concept?
Well, you're right in the sense that we decarbonize along with economic growth. The idea that we need to have less economic growth in order to decarbonize is not grounded in reality. It's not grounded in historical fact. It's also, obviously it's terrible for political economy, and that's the reason why climate change legislation, cap and trade legislation failed, is because people didn't want to increase energy prices. What we saw is that the American consumers benefited to $100 billion a year thanks to cheaper natural gas prices. So our emissions from electricity have been going down thanks to cheap and abundant natural gas, as our electricity prices have been going down from cheap natural gas. The French are not poor. They're the most decarbonized economy in that part, or next to Sweden, the most decarbonized economy. They're not poor because they've slashed their emissions and decarbonized their energy sector. Wealth and decarbonization go hand in hand.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taco.